what happened is I stopped worrying what people thought about me. I stopped worrying if they would judge me, if I came across the wrong way or if I didn't say something perfect. I stopped worrying about what people thought about me because I was doing it with good intentions. I was doing it with the intention of, I want to help this person, potentially change their lives, potentially change the lives of hundreds, maybe thousands of people if they buy into what I'm sharing with them. I didn't recruit them to change my life. I recruited them to change their life and their circle of influence. And when you change that mindset, all of a sudden you don't feel guilty recruiting anymore. All of a sudden you don't feel like, am I bugging them? Think about this. You guys ever take Uber anywhere? Right? I take Uber to the airport all the time when I travel and stuff like that. I'm always in the Uber. Every time I'm in the Uber, I have to remind myself to recruit the person that I'm driving with, even though I'm the CEO and I'm Mr. Big Shot and blah, blah, blah. I still have to remind myself that I need to talk to this Uber driver because they might not like Ubering. They might be just doing this as a means to an end because their job that they work full time at doesn't provide enough money for their family. So now they have to drive Uber part-time in order to generate some extra income. Shame on me if I don't offer them the opportunity, at least say, hey, how long you been doing Uber for? Oh, a couple of years. How do you like it? It's okay. You get to meet some people. Great. I'm going to ask you a crazy question. My company's expanding right now. I'm actually working with someone that's in charge of hiring. I always say it like that. I take it off myself. I'm working with someone that's in charge of the recruitment right now. And if you're open-minded, I'd love to get your information. I can pass it along. And I'd always kind of do it like third party that way. Guys, if you start thinking about recruiting everywhere you go and think about it from their perspective, not from your own, all of a sudden the guilt goes away. You don't feel embarrassed about it. You don't feel like you're bugging people. I don't feel like I'm bugging anybody because I'm showing people how they could change their life here. That's not bugging anybody, right? But if I'm just trying to recruit them into my business so I can make some overrides, well, that can make me feel like I'm just doing it and I'm bugging people. But I'm not. I'm doing it so that Michael Ha, listen, I'll tell you what, I override Michael Ha, the company overrides Michael Ha. I'm going to make a lot of money on Michael Ha. But guess what? The amount of money that our company benefits from Michael Ha's business pales in comparison to the impact it's going to have on his life. Not even close. He's going to win so much bigger than what Experior benefits from him and from what Michael Tran benefits from him. Michael Ha is going to benefit the most to build a business with Experior. Michael Tran gets to take in some overrides, and that's awesome, right? And then Michael Tran, Chonbury, the whole way up the line, like there's people that benefit from it, but Michael Ha is the real winner there, right? All right. Do you guys want to ask any questions? Do you want to do like Q&A? What do you think, Mike?
Oh, don't be shy. It gives you a chance to ask Jamie everything that you want to ask.
I can keep talking.
I'll start, Jamie.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
This group, okay. So I know that on the radar is South America, Mexico, and then further down the road is Vietnam and the Philippines. So can you elaborate a little bit more? Are we still on track? Are anything taken off the table, or are we moving along?
We're just moving along. Yeah, the tech stuff, we're 6 months into the project. It's going to be 3 years from the start. So we're looking at 2.5 years. We're really working on a lot of different microservices, it's called, on the back engine, so that when we go into other countries, we can remain compliant, have everything translated instantly into the language of where we're going. And I can't say for certain which countries we're going to. I say Vietnam because we have a ton of people from Vietnam, like Vietnamese speaking folks, a lot of people from Vietnam, where they now call America their home. I think that we have an awesome opportunity in Vietnam, Philippines, Mexico, and Nigeria, Cameroon. There's a ton of countries that are on my list of priorities. But again, we don't know for sure until we get the proper information, but we're not diving into it right now. Over the next 2 years, we got a ton of work to do in America. So we're going to continue to build this thing bigger and bigger. And the answer is absolutely yes. We're going global. We're going around the country, but we're not going to do it premature. We want to do it strategically and make sure that it's not a flop, because there are a lot of companies that try to expand too quick and then they end up failing and bailing. So we don't want to do that.
Thank you. I do have a second one, Jamie. That is related to the mortgage, the referral program that blowing up in Canada. When are we scheduled to have that in the U.S.?
Ask Sean Redford. That's his job.
That's his job?
Yeah. Ask Sean Redford. Tell him to get on it.
It is, because I've been doing the groundwork and connecting with a lot of mortgage brokers just to have that product.
Michael, I'm telling you, I don't want to deal with mom and pop shops, though. We have to deal with a national company licensed in all states, and they have to have a digital online presence. If we deal with mom and pop type shops, even if they got 50 employees, that doesn't work. We went through hell in Canada trying to find the right one until finally we found one that was all digital, electronic. It was so simple. There's still people they have to communicate with, but they're rock solid. But I would just say that it took us a while in Canada to find the right one. So we don't want to make the same mistakes in the US and say, oh, well, this guy says he can do it. And then, because what happens is if they drop the ball for your client, it reflects negatively on you, right? They start looking at Michael Ha like, oh man, why'd you send me this guy? He doesn't return my calls. And, he only calls during the day, and I told him I'm only free at night. And, that kind of like, it's stuff like that really irritates customers, and then it reflects negatively on us. So we got to make sure it's the right partner before we do it. But get on Sean about that. He's the one that's got to be digging for that stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it, man. Yair.
Hey there, everybody. So yeah, Jamie, I have a quick question for you. And I think you've touched on this on a few times in other meetings, but I think it's kind of pertinent with the crowd that we have here tonight, being that a lot of us have spouses, may not be present on camera with us and everything, but I know a few folks on here who do have spouses and significant others. For us, what would you recommend if you and Leanne had to say, what would you say would be the top two most important things that you guys could recommend to us who have been pushing to move forward this business, and yet we're trying to keep also our family structure, our relationship, together. Michael earlier made a comment about how he doesn't see his wife often enough. So what do you think would be like two good things that could come out of this, knowing that at the end of the road, things will improve, if you understand the question?
Yeah, for
if
sure.
It makes sense.
Yeah, great question. It's funny, when Leanne and I got married, we actually met in Primerica, and we built our Primerica business together. And it wasn't a very big business, but we had our own office, we had a few agents and stuff. And my MC at our wedding was also one of my high school friends. And he was also one of my Primerica agents who was in the office every day. And he would watch my wife and I interact. And when he got up, and he's a bit of a comedian, this guy, and he got up and spoke at our wedding. And he says, well, guys, I've known Jamie since high school, and I've gotten to know Leanne over the last couple of years because we worked together in Primerica. And all I can tell you is that they have taught me every way possible not to treat your spouse, because we were so toxic with each other for a period of time. I'll tell you, every stupid mistake you could make in a partnership, we probably made it. We would go to the office, we'd be fine on the way there. By the time we got home, there was a fight, right, Leanne?
I heard that story. He did say that, but he was more like about the male, how not to talk to his wife.
Oh, come on now. It was both of us. Leanne's outside my door listening. Don't ask me these questions. You're going to get me in a fight tonight, Yair.
No, not in that sense. It's because, I know.
So this is my point. This is what we learned. This is what we learned when we built Experior, because now we don't fight. We have disagreements and stuff. We're not perfect, but I'll tell you something. We don't fight about the business anymore because she stays in her lane. I stay in my lane. She doesn't advise me, consult me, teach me, train me, nothing. I don't advise her, consult her, motivate her, teach her, nothing. I can't motivate my wife. She can't motivate me. We are equals on an equal playing field. I have to let her grow on her own, She has to let me grow on my own. We both are growing together. We're both improving, getting better, becoming better business people, better in our relationship. But we completely decided that she's not going to tell me how I should be doing something, and I'm not going to tell her how she should be doing something. That is the worst thing you can do, I think, for a partnership in the business. That's just my advice.
Yeah, I think we can see that clearly. You guys both really focus on each other's strengths and not on your weaknesses. The weakness is when you're true to yourself, you know what your weaknesses are. So if you know got to make changes, you just got to do what you got to do to make those changes necessary in times and just fall back on your strengths. I know a lot of these folks here also are starting families, so that must be difficult. But in comparison to you, you got 9 kids, man. Mine are done. They're grown and everything, and Jelly's also. But yeah, that's a key factor that I think a lot of people like to know. And for the young crowd here, what would you recommend that they do when it comes to building up an agency, as to the type of agents they should be seeking out to bring into the business, or people? What would you say would be some attributes to look at?
I think recruit them all and let God figure it out. You don't know who's going to be your superstars. You really don't. Sometimes, like, the one that you think is going to be a rock star turns out to be a dumbass, right? And then other times, the one that you think is like, man, they can barely, look at you straight without turning their head because they're so shy and embarrassed and they're just timid, and they end up becoming a superstar. So you just don't know. There's never been a test, to my knowledge, that can measure the heart that someone has for their life and their business. There's never been a test designed to determine how big someone's passion really is to change their life, to do something special. So I just think that we have to recruit people and let them figure their way out. I joke that I like to recruit people specifically who have a PhD. That's kind of my favorite, meaning they're poor, hungry, and driven. Those are my favorite, people with PhDs. People that come in that think they know all the answers are sometimes the biggest headaches to work with, right? Coachability is a big factor. I look for people that show up to meetings, right? You guys have 61 people on the call. You probably have 100 people that you wish were on the call, right? 100 more people that you wish were on the call. Don't worry about them, right? Treat them nice, love on them when they show up, say hi, high five them, all that. Don't treat them bad, but know who your players are. The ones that show up to meetings like this at 9 p.m. my time anyway, but the ones that show up to these meetings, even though they're not going to learn how to sell an insurance policy tonight, but they might learn something about, growth and mindset shift and stuff like that. Those are the ones you want to work with, people that are showing up, right?
Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate your time.
You got it. Long hang.
Yes, sir. So I have a question with Yashin questions about let's say a spouse, like husband and wife. So if they join the company, are they considered one, or they considered separate if they join together with experience?
They're separate from, like, clients, and their licenses are completely separate, but they're one executive director as a couple, right? So on the system, one would be under the other technically, so all the money's coming into one household, but you can't have an executive director husband and then promote a wife to executive director. That's called double dipping. It has to be a couple, like a partnership. Yeah, so we have a lot of husbands and wives who are both licensed in the business, and one of them just decides who's going to be the one on the system on the top position, but no one in the public even knows because we recognize them as one.
They get the same commissions,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Okay. Second question. So we have convention in end of May. So right now, what is the licensed agents with the experience right now? What's the number? Do you have the number of licensed agents?
We're almost at 7,500. So we're close to 7,500. Our plan is to have 3,500 people at the convention. That's the max capacity. So once we're at 3,500 tickets sold, we're done. We can't sell anymore. Like maximum we could fit in is 3,500, and it's going to be at the Irvine Convention Center. It's a big convention center in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we should get a ticket if we want to attend the convention right now.
You should get a ticket right now.
Get it right now, Mom.
They're going to be.
Get it right now.
Yeah, as soon as and once we hit 1,000 tickets, I think, or by the end of this month, I can't remember, the price is going to go up. So yeah, you're better to get them sooner than later. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You got it. And fam.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hello.
I am very eager for you to open the market in Vietnam, and because I'm still in the Vietnam lawyer. I'm practicing this in my country in 24 years. That's why I have a lot of connection in there. And I want to ask you, and how you start working with the Vietnamese government?
Have we started?
Yeah. How
No,
you
we haven't.
start working with the Vietnamese government?
No, we haven't started anything yet.
Oh yeah, because you know why I asked you about that? Because I understand not too easy.
Yes.
Not
and
too
that's-
easy in my country,
Listen. Puerto Rico's been a nightmare, and they're part of the U.S. and they've been a nightmare. So we want to make sure that we are rock solid, ready to go before we do it. And I would love to chat with you, Anne, before we jump down that road in a couple of years. But yeah, no, we understand the challenges that can be presented. Coming to the United States wasn't nearly as difficult for us, being a Canadian company, as going from the United States to Puerto Rico, which is really weird because they're a part of the United States. So we understand there's going to be challenges ahead, but we're always up for a challenge.
Okay. That's why I want to tell you.
Yeah,
if
don't worry.
one day and you want to connect with them, and maybe let me know. I can
Absolutely, I appreciate that. No, we're going to be talking, like, put it this way, when we go into a country, I'm going to be calling like a big meeting with every single person that's Vietnamese descent in that meeting. And there'll be thousands of us by that point. And I'm going to have them all there. And I'm going to say, who wants to help us with this project? We're ready to move. And out of the thousands of people, there might be a handful that are ready to rock and roll and make things happen. So that's how we're going to do it. Right.
Okay.
But let's get to like 5,000 Vietnamese in the United States first. And then we're ready to rock this thing. So.
And because the Vietnamese market is really good to do the insurance tax. It's the young people, young population there. That's very good for we when we open the market there. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Sure. You got it. Tatch.
Hey Jimmy, I know there's a lot of new agent in this meeting right now, so I kind of have this question, so you can have me to answer for them. What the key habits and routine would you recommend to new agents starting their careers here in Xperia?
The key what? Sorry?
Habits and routines,
Oh, yeah.
What do you recommend to new agents?
Yeah, prospecting is number one, right? Getting out on your social media every day, sharing stuff about your business, your excitement, letting the world know that you're now in business. If you were to start a restaurant, right, the first thing you're going to do is tell everybody you know about it. Hey, if you're looking to get some pho soup, you want some pho, you don't go to that guy anymore. You come to me, right? I'm the guy selling the pho now. Stop going to these people over here. You got a family member doing this. Well, that's the same kind of thing, right? You want to share with everybody what you're doing so that they know that, hey, you're in the insurance business. If you need anything, I'm your guy or gal. And then same with the recruiting side, letting people know that, hey, you're with a company that's expanding and growing. I would just say being consistent every day with sharing stuff on social media, looking at what other leaders are sharing, copying that kind of stuff, using some of the content that you see. And, depending on how new you are, making sure that you're going out with a trainer, right? That a trainer's with you to help you through the process. You might have to do a split sale, right? But that's okay. I mean, 50% of something's better than 100% of nothing if you don't know what you're doing yet. So go out with a Michael Ha or with a Mike Tran or whoever, someone that knows what they're doing, and they can show you how to have that success.
What's your biggest lessons you learned throughout this journeys? Can you share?
Like in 23 years, you want my biggest lesson?
Yeah.
Well, my biggest lesson is that I can't trust any other company except Experior. And that's the truth. I think most of them are crooked. That was a big lesson for me over the last 10 years. I can't believe how corrupt some organizations are. They make me angry. This is why I do Facebook Live videos and I share with people how corrupt some of these companies are, because I don't care what they think of me. That's one thing. But from a business side, one of the biggest things I've learned is that I've learned to not judge a book by its cover. I mean, we say that, don't judge a book by its cover, but I've really learned that, we have a girl that was 21 years old, younger than my oldest daughter. And, nobody would have given her a chance in the business world, right? She had blonde hair. She kind of talked a little like, she kind of like, a little kind of type of attitude. You know what? That lady's built an incredible business. I say lady now. I would have called her a little girl at the time. And she's still like 23 years old. She's a 6-figure ring earner. She was our youngest 6-figure. Nobody would have given her a shot. And we gave her a chance and we said, you can do this. You can build something here. Don't change who you are. That's your personality. And honestly, when you see her, you think she's a 15-year-old girl. You couldn't even tell that she's in her 20s, right? And she's out there making a 6-figure income. And then we've got someone that's like 70 years old, right? You think that they're at the end of their career and they're more fired up than they've ever been in their entire working life. And they want to go build an empire and they're making 6 figures. You just don't know who's going to do it, right? So I've learned not to judge, just don't judge people. You never know. Mike Tran.
Thank you, Jeremy, so much.
No problem.
Jamie, can you explain to our new Rock B in here regarding about the legacy and the share? Because majority of a lot of people, they feel like a lot of people, they think that, okay, I got a license, now I can open up my broker, right? What's the difference between they come in here, they have share, they have the legacy, right? Because they don't understand that's the most important thing. Because before I was in the other company, I think I have share and I think I have the legacy, but in reality, I don't, right? And but some people, they think that, okay, now I have the license, now I have experience, now I could go open the broker. But in reality, there's so many work that you put out there, right? Like the back office and so on. There's a lot of monies to open that, right? But if they leverage experience, that's the wonderful thing. So can you give on the input on those two?
Well, number one, our top line revenue this year was $90 million. And you know how much we kept of that? $8 million. So we put out $82 million to keep this operation running out of 90, right? So the EBIT is like 8-9%, whatever it is. I mean, it's not as valuable, like it's not as big as people think, and the smaller you are, the less you can make in earnings, right? Because you're putting out more. Like this year, we put in $4 million last year, we put in $4 million into our technology, right? This is something that we couldn't have done our first year. We didn't even make $4 million our first year. Right. So it's like, how could we have done that? Like, we just didn't have the money. But now we've grown and we've taken time and we've strategized. Now we're 11 years into this thing. We've got a rock solid base, and we pay out more compensation to the field than what any other IMO is paying out to the field. There's no other company in the industry that pays the amount of comp that we pay out to our agents that are building. Now, someone might be able to get one little contract a little bit higher, and then maybe you can convince someone to go under you. And that's only as good as you're alive and someone doesn't steal them from you. Because here's what happens. When you build if you build a company outside of Experior, if you die, your business disappears. Okay? Rolls up to the upline. Now, some companies will say, yeah, but if your wife is licensed or if your husband's licensed, they could take over the business. Okay, that's cool. Is it contractual? And is your spouse appointed with all the carriers for the overrides? See, at Experior, Your wife doesn't need to be licensed. Your husband doesn't need to be licensed. Your kids don't need to be licensed. And they can still take over your business and still benefit from your business, regardless if they're in the industry or not. No other company in history has built that legacy program. By the way, if your wife happens to be licensed with you, Michael, guess what happens if you drop dead? She gets 100% of your business.
I just told her that. She just got her license.
There you go. So now your business is as good, 100%. If both of these are, one of these is alive, 100%. Okay? You go to other IMOs, that's not how it works. You die, your business falls apart. Or what if your wife wasn't licensed, Michael? She can still take on the business. Now it's at a 75% buyout, right? But it's still something where she would have gotten nothing if she had been with another, if you had been with another IMO. So that's the power of that. Also the power of the shares. I was just showing someone, I'll show you guys. This got me excited earlier. Oh crap, I deleted it. Okay, never mind. I thought I had I was just showing someone with the shares. But right now our share value is roughly $10 a share. So at $10 a share, company's worth about 100 million, because if you take an 8 million, which was our EBITDA last year, roughly 8 million, at 12 times multiplier, which is very conservative. By the way, Integrity would have bought us for 15 times multiplier, okay, on the earnings. But take it 12 times. I'm being conservative. The company's worth $100 million. We have issued approximately 10 million shares, okay? Of those 10 million shares, 2.5 million of those shares are owned by our agents. 25% of the company is owned by Experior agents. My wife and I currently hold about 75% of the shares. Our plan over the next 5 years is to grow this company to $2 billion in 5 years. At $2 billion, that's a 20x multiplier of what it currently is today. Okay? 20x of $10 a share, that's $200 a share. And maybe we go public. Maybe we have an acquisition take place. We're not sure what it looks like, but let's just say it's going public, okay? We decide to do an IPO. You have $200 a share. Now, realistically, over the next 5 years, by the year 2030, we're likely going to issue more shares. Actually, we're definitely going to issue more shares because some of you guys want to earn more shares or want to start earning shares. So let's just say, Mike Tran, we're going to issue another 2 million shares on top of the 10 million that are currently issued. Now we've got 12 million shares. 12 million shares divided into a company that's now worth $2 billion, okay? That's $167 a share. Multiply that by just 2,000 shares in Experior. Just 2,000 shares. Michael Ha, you have 2,000 shares. Michael Tran, you have 2,000 shares. Just multiply that $167 by 2,000 shares. That's over $300,000 in the next 5 years. Now, Michael Ha, Michael Tran, and Pham, Yair, bunch of you guys that have shares, Trung, you guys, listen to this. What if you go earn 14,000 shares, which is the maximum number of shares you can earn? That's 6 times more, 6 times 300,000. That's $1.9 million in shares. Now, I'm not going to stop there. Let's call it 2 million. Let's round up a little bit. Let's say we don't issue 2 million. We only issue 1.5 million in the next 5 years. That's at a $2 billion valuation. Your 14,000 shares are going to be worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $2 million. My plan by 2035 is to become the largest company in the history of financial services, to have the biggest value of any company in the insurance IMO space, not financial services, because we're not talking like companies like Citigroup, Citibank. I'm talking about the insurance industry. So if we're in the insurance industry, we become the largest. By the way, Primerica cracked 10 billion at their peak. Okay, they're over 10 billion. Our plan is to take this to 10 billion over the next 10 years. At 10 billion, that's now 5 times that 2 million that it was worth in 2030. That's a $10 million share value on 14,000 shares. Now, I understand there could be some more dilution that happens. Obviously, when you go public, there's going to be institutional investors, a lot of different things that happen. But what if it's worth $5 million? That's not a bad payday. Hey, what if I'm so far off? I'm so far off. What if it's worth $500,000? Hey, Michael, I'll help you pay your taxes that year. How about that? $500,000. There you go. Because we have guys that are going to be making millions and millions of dollars every year. But we're also going to have people that are making millions and millions of dollars every month. You mark my words. This, guys, by the way, the biggest builder in the history of the United States, the biggest builder inside of a company like Experior, I say like Experior very tongue-in-cheek because we ain't like anything else, but the biggest builder, do you know what ethnicity he is in the history of the insurance industry? On both sides of the border, Canada and the U.S.?
Vietnamese.
He is Vietnamese. As a matter of fact, his last name is Nguyen.
Yes,
He's
Sung
Vietnamese.
I know him.
He has built the largest distribution sales force in the history of financial services. And get this, guys making over $20 million a year in a company that if you line them up side by side, nobody in their right mind would join them over Experior. Nobody in their right mind would join them over Experior. Our compensation plan, our products, our everything about us is so much better. We've improved on what they built back in the 90s when that company started. So if you imagine that, what is possible here? What is possible here? I'm telling you, the sky is the limit. It's crazy what we're going to be able to do over here. And I'm fired up. Now, Yair, I know you're not Vietnamese, okay? But that's okay because there's lots of Latinos, lots of Colombia, there's lots of everybody making millions of dollars all over the place. Matter of fact, we just recruited one of their Latinos over here. He was making almost $2 million a year at that company. He left there, left everything behind, started with us cold turkey. He was over there for 19 years, dropped everything, came over with us full time. By the way, his 5th month with Experior, which was last month, December, 5th month with Experior, starting from scratch. That son of a gun made $130,000 last month. This thing might work, Yair. Just might work. So I get fired up, man. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight, Mike. Thanks for doing this meeting so late.
So before we go to Ann, we have Luke who wants to speak, but his button doesn't work. So maybe Luke, go ahead and ask your question.
Hey, wait, Luke, are you a wrestler?
Oh yeah, I would love to be a wrestler. Just kidding. No.
Did you ever wrestle?
No, not yet. But I love martial art.
Okay, I was gonna say you look. I don't know. You got like a fighter look to you. I like it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I think it's nice to meet you, CEO Pickett. Okay, I would love to ask you a formula for success in Experior, and to your experience in the past, rising from the bottom to the top, what you regret the most or the least, and why you picked the name Experior.
Great question. Number one,
it's successful to you.
And again, it's like, and Luke, this is going to be very surface level answer because there's a million different things that go into being successful. But I'll tell you the one basic principle is focus. Laser beam focus. Focus, if you break that down, the word focus, Focus, follow one course until successful. And that's one thing that I've done. I don't invest in other properties. I don't hold a real estate license. I don't sell insurance with State Farm on the side. I don't do nothing else except for Experior. This is my life. This is how I've created every dollar that comes into my family's home came from building one thing. Too many people try to dabble in this, dabble in that, dabble in this, and you become jack of all trades, master of none. You got to get laser focused, get great at one thing. Then once you're great, if you want to, you can diversify. Buy some properties, Airbnb, different stuff. Sure, that's great. Not for me though. For me, this is my baby. This is all I got. This is it. So focus has helped me the most. One of my biggest regrets would be probably not listening to my wife on big corporate decisions. My wife has been a very good judge of character. There's been times where my wife said, Jamie, I don't feel good about this guy. I just don't feel right about this. And there's been now multiple times where it's probably cost the company hundreds of thousands of dollars because I didn't listen to my wife, because she's, women, I don't know if you all know this, but they have a sixth sense that most men don't have. I certainly don't. It's called intuition. Okay. Now I'm getting a little bit better in my young old age. Okay. I'm 45 years young. I'm getting a little bit better, but not like my wife, man. My wife can look at someone and she'd be like, I don't trust them. I don't even ask her why anymore. I'm like, really? Okay. You're probably right. Let's tread very carefully. So that would be one of my regrets, is not listening to my wife. And I hope she can't hear this right now, because my door's thin. I don't want to come in here and I told you. That would be one of my regrets. What was the last question?
Oh, why you like a name Xperia for your company?
Yeah, great question. So we were trying to think. Of names that had like different meanings, different like background. We didn't want to have, like, when you think of companies like World Financial Group, right? You have to use all the name World Financial Group, and then it becomes an acronym, WFG. I didn't want that, like all these different companies, Family First Life, FFL, and you can't shorten it to like, yeah, I represent family. It's like, what? I mean, Family First Life. Or, hey, I represent World. And then it's like, World. Oh yeah, World Financial Group, or WFG. We're like, what's one cool word that we could use? It'd be still Experior Financial Group, but people could shorten it and they could just say Experior. So from a marketing standpoint, Experior sounds cool, like, but we were looking up Latin words, because there's a lot of cool Latin words. And then we found a word that was called expertus. Expert, so expert, EXPERTUS, expertus. And it turns out it was a Latin word, and it meant tried, tested, put to the test. Then we found the feminine version of expertus, which is Experior. And again, it means tried, tested, and put to the test. And we thought, we'd already been tested so much in our careers. We were 12 years in, still struggling. And we thought, that's a cool name. So that's what we went with.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. It's an awesome answer.
You got it.
Appreciate it.
And fam.
Okay, so Jamie, can you explain about the vector debit check authorization? Because why is the expire just 1 month?
Oh, why did we start doing that all of a sudden? Yeah, because we found, so Vector, apparently to report someone to Vector, if they have a debt, you have to have an agreement signed by the agent that they agreed to it. They never made us do that before. We've had a lot of people we had to put to Vector because they had debt. Now, all of a sudden, we went to put someone last month on the Vector, I guess our compliance team did, and they all of a sudden said, oh, well, you need this document signed now. And we're like, what? We never needed that before. And they're like, oh, no, you need that. And we're like, okay. So then our staff just made it now a requirement that everyone needs to get it signed. So it's basically to protect the business, that if someone leaves, a rogue agent leaves and leaves debt with the company, we can send them to Vector. And what that means is when they go to try and get another insurance company contract, it's going to show that they left this company and they stole money from this company. I say stole money because to me, it's not a debt. To me, you're a thief if you steal money. So that's, anyway.
But so we should do that every month?
No. That's just one time.
So why is the expire, it's like example, I just submitted yesterday and on my file show the expired February 5th.
That's a development question. That's a ask broker support.
Oh, okay.
Or you know what? Let me give you the email of our operations manager. It's a Canadian email address, so make sure you do .ca with this one. I'm not smart enough to do all that stuff, and you know that. Oh, it can be either one, Lee? Thank you. There you go. Nathania.milet@experiorheadoffice.com. If you email that lady, Anne, she's our VP of operations, and that way if there is a glitch, because it shouldn't be asking for it twice, maybe there's a glitch, she'll be able to get to the bottom of it and figure out what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it should only be done once, though.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
You got it. Trung Bui.
Hey, what's up, Jamie? I have a few questions.
the first thing is that, I read your book and I did some research on the company before I joined. I keep hearing about this unique hybrid model, which claims to have advantage for client and, agent. So can you explain that more? Because not a lot of people know about that.
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, I also have a video that I did 5-6 years ago on my YouTube channel. So if you guys aren't on there, type in my name on YouTube and you can see a bunch of videos I've done there. But the tribrid is, and it's something that we kind of coined this phrase that, tri meaning three, and it's the best of all three. So what we looked at, Trung, was we looked at the best of the insurance worlds that are out there. And there's three main types of companies. You've got companies that are career agencies, captive agencies. These are companies like State Farm, Allstate, Mass Mutual, Prudential. They have career agencies. One of the benefits of that captive career agency is that they have a lot of brand recognition. They're well known to the public. They have a lot of training and support, stuff like that. Some of the negatives, though, is that you're captive, right? You don't have the best solutions for the clients necessarily. Their commissions aren't typically high enough, and they own your business, okay? The middle one that we talk about is the IMO, the independent marketing organizations. This is where you can have access to many different companies. Most often you can own your business with them. So if you want to leave, you can bring your business with you. The commissions are typically higher with the IMOs, but some of the negativity is that they're not transparent. It's every man and woman for themselves. There's no system in place. It's just sell insurance and then someone makes something off of you somewhere. And it's not really a structured system. So there's a lot of fallout in the IMO world. Then we looked at the best of the network marketing models. And that's where you'd see like the two biggest ones right now are Primerica and World Financial Group. And there's a bunch of others, but those are the big name ones that people know. And there's benefits to those companies. You can have multiple distribution outlets, developing leaders under leaders. You can expand to different markets. There's no territorial restrictions. The problem with the network marketing is that their commissions are garbage, right? They own you, right? It's very cultish, right? You're not allowed to leave. If you leave, they try and steal everything from you, and it's not a real business. So what we did is we looked at all three of those models, the career, the captive, the IMO, the insurance marketing organizations, and then lastly, the network marketing or the multi-level marketing. And we said, let's take all the good and let's leave all the bad. And that's what we've done our best to create over the last 11 years. And I'd say somewhat successfully. We still want to get better. We still want to improve, but that's how kind of the basis of our platform started, was on taking the best of three models and putting them together.
I see. So you have studied the competitor before you experience system.
Oh man, I still study my competitors today, every day. I have one competitor. I'm on their Facebook page every single day. I'm seeing what they're doing. My sister-in-law is a UFC fighter. Her name is Jasmine Jasvidicious, and she's got a big fight coming up on February 8th. She's fighting in Saudi Arabia, and she's the first UFC female fight ever in Saudi Arabia. Well, right now, she didn't come to Christmas this past Christmas. My brother was there, but not my sister-in-law, because she was in Thailand training for this upcoming fight. And I'll tell you, a lot of her training is, yes, working on herself, mastering her craft, but it's also watching video of her competitor. It's also bringing in training partners that have a similar fighting style than the lady that she's going to be fighting on February 8th. See, the best of the best in sports and in business study their competitors. I want to know my competitors and what's going to come out of their mouth before they even say it. So yeah, I spend a lot of time studying competitors. And that's why I feel like we have an edge, because you guys, I don't know if you watched I was on Facebook the other night, last night or the night before, I can't remember which one it was, but I did a video with one of our agents, and in the middle of the video, I basically started talking about competition, and then I stopped and I went, wait a minute. And I looked right at the camera. I said, if any of our competitors are watching this video and you think that you're telling the truth to people, I challenge you to do a live video on Facebook for everyone to see, you and me. And I'm not talking about some downline agent that's building. I'm talking the owner of the company. I'm talking to you owners of the company. Sit with me. We'll go on a Facebook Live and let's talk about the facts of our opportunity versus yours. That's how we're going to get the truth out there. So come at me, right? And I do that kind of stuff because I know that nobody will take me up on it, number one. But number two, if they ever do, I'm going to very love it.
Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate it.
No problem. You got it. All right, guys. Well, it's 10 o'clock. Listen, I just want to say, first of all, as Mike, I know you're probably going to close out the meeting, but I just want to say thank you to every one of you. Whether you're brand new or you're still on the fence, just looking at this for the first time, you know, you might be thinking, man, this CEO is crazy. And you're right, I am a little crazy, but I'm excited. You know, I'm excited that we get to go out there and change people's lives, help people, you know, build something great for them and their families. We never started Experior just to make money. We started this company to make a difference because we were struggling ourselves when we started. I just wanted to be able to get ahead financially, do well for my family. I never dreamt of being like this multi-gajillionaire and making all this kind of money. That wasn't the plan. The plan was to just get out of a position of where we felt like we were in poverty, and then show people how to do the same. And lo and behold, we've got a lot of great people. And I want to thank all you executive directors who stepped up to the game and really put your mark on this thing. But don't stop there. Executive director is now the worst contract you could ever have, Mike. Worst contract you could ever have. The next one you got to get is senior executive director. Okay. Awesome.
Jimmy, can you answer last question? Is that
sure?
Why Experior is paid the comp so high? So what's the benefit company gonna get, right?
Well, as I said, 90 million was our top line revenue, and we still came out with $8 million in EBITDA.
Yeah, because you know the question is that a lot of people is like, if the Experior pays so much to the agent, yeah. where how does company survive?
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm happy to show those competitors our financials too. Tell them to show me theirs, I'll show them mine. You know, when you make a top line revenue of 90 million, all of a sudden 8% EBITDA is not so bad, right? 8% EBITDA is not good if you're only making a couple 100,000, right? But when you're making almost 100 million, it's pretty good. But in the beginning, you know, we always lived below our means, right? My wife and I didn't go get the fancy house and cars and everything too early, right? We were very wise financially. We wanted to do this right. Even to this day, we don't drive big fancy cars. We have a beautiful home, mind you, but you know, we're not wasting money. You know, we're trying to be smart about this. We're building a company, right? We want this thing to be here long after we're gone. I want my great grandkids to know that, hey, their great grandpa, you know, built a big business once upon a time, and that's why we're able to live the life that we can and the impact that we get to make in the world still.
Thank you so much. Anybody have any last questions before leaving Jimmy? Or Jimmy, you want them to ask in Vietnamese and then you answer?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Các anh chị nào có muốn hỏi tiếng Việt thì you have the translation nha. Chờ nha.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it'll work though. Let's see.
We'll test it out.
Test.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Oh, you can do English?
Yeah, go ahead, Nicole.
Yes, hi. This is Nicole Hayes, and I'm fairly new, and I wanted to know, outside of your team, if you're struggling like with contracts, is there an 800 number to contact? Is it broker support?
The best thing is to put in a ticket. So yeah, talk with your executive director, put in a ticket to the contracting department. And a lot of times the issues are with carriers can take a few weeks, sometimes a month to issue a contract, depending on the carrier. But I would say talk with your executive director, Nicole, and make sure you submit a ticket with them to the appropriate department, which would be contracting.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, các anh chị nào cũng muốn hỏi tiếng Việt với ông CEO không?
Oh, hold on one second. Let's see if it works, Michael. I'm gonna put it on.
Yeah, em muốn hỏi tiếng Việt nè.
Ok.
Biết rồi là tại
Hold
sao
on. Chờ chút để coi Jimmy, are you ready for your technology?
Oh, hold on. Still connecting, it says.
Okay, will I have?
Oh, it's saying it can't connect. I'm not sure why.
See, if you would have had an iPhone, it would have connected right away.
No, that's not true.
Yes.
So the iPhone 16 is they do that. Okay.
There, now I'm connected.
Okay, you ready? Okay, and Luke, go ahead.
Vậy em hỏi là CEO của mình á, Jamie á, làm thế nào mà đạt được cái gọi là chức vị coi như là công ty cao nhất từ công ty bắt đầu như là Primerica mà đổi qua Xperia, cái tiến trình cũng như là cái sự mà nó gọi là tiến triển á, nó như thế nào, có khó khăn không, nó có thuận lợi thuận buồm xuôi gió không, hỏi từ công ty bắt đầu và công ty thành công bây giờ, anh hiểu không nó?
Do you get it, Jimmy?
Yeah, it's so you're saying how did we achieve this with Experior in the process, and also the thing is called progress. It's like anyone who it's difficult, unfavorable, smooth sailing, the wind blowing from the company that started the company successfully. I'm missing it. Maybe it's because it's too silent too coming. I'm not sure.
Okay. Let me break it down like a smooth, easier like that. Thì muốn hỏi là ông CEO là muốn trở thành cũng như là người giống như là CEO vậy đó, Jimmy vậy đó, mình phải làm như thế nào mới đạt được cái tư duy như vậy, cái sự thành công như vậy. Cũng như là mình có cái cũng như là bước theo con đường của ông Jimmy đi á, sau này giờ 20-30 năm nữa nếu mình có công ty thứ hai á, mình phải làm sao mới đạt được cái vị trí như vậy. Okay,
so you're saying basically, if you have something, if you want to follow my path in the future, and you have a second company or you have another position, and you're basically doing this part time, is that what you're saying?
Oh, full time, of course. Have follow your footstep, follow your passion, and how can we achieve what is the success you have been doing right now and success you have right now?
So I'll tell you this: the only thing I can give you as advice is that we took one step at a time, but we didn't stop walking. So many people take a step, they take 2 steps, and then they take a few backwards, and then they get sidetracked and they go down another path. We just stayed focused. And it's crazy, Luke, to think that when we started this, it was my wife and I and 5 people. We had no staff. We had no technology. We had no developers. We had no new business team, contracting team. We had no software, no systems, no nothing. We didn't even have Zoom then. Okay, we were doing everything face to face. I was only recruiting people local to my area within an hour drive is where I was driving to Tim Hortons and recruiting people. Do you think in those moments when I was driving my vehicle 1 hour down the highway to go meet someone at a McDonald's or a Tim Hortons to try and recruit them over here from Primerica or whatever company they're with, that one day we would have over 100 full-time staff, and one day I would have people coming into my office twice a week to clean my office garbage out of the office? Like, it's crazy to think, like, we didn't even have an office. And now to think we've got 3 head office locations. We're about to open one in Puerto Rico. We got one in the U.S. In Buffalo, and we got one in Guelph. We got staff all over the country right now. Some work remote, some work in head office. And to think that I walk down the hall at my office to go to the washroom, and I run into someone new that I've never met almost every day that I'm at head office, new staff coming in and stuff. Like, it blows my mind to where this thing is right now. But I started here with nothing, with just a vision we could be big. I didn't know what it was going to take. I didn't know, like I said, one day we'd have cleaners coming into our office to clean all the garbage. I didn't know that would ever happen. But we just took one step forward, and eventually things started to fall into place. It's been 11 years of building Experior to get to the point that it is right now. I'll show you one last thing, guys. One last thing, just to maybe give you a little bit of understanding of where we're at. I think it was on the CEO tab. Yep, CEO tab.
I guess Luke's trying to say that you look like 21 years old, but you're so successful. How does he? How
Yeah, what the charisma you got and that we can emulate.
Look at this stuff. This is how. Look at our numbers, guys. Look at our numbers. You're about to see numbers that the Michael Ha and Mike Tran destroyed in their first couple of years with Xperia. Look at this. Recruits, AOAs is recruits. 2014, we weren't even a blip. 2015, 2016, 2017. 1, 2, 3, 4 years in. 5 years, 6 years. 7 years later, we cracked 2,000 agents. 7 years in. And then look. Boom, 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 boom. Last year, almost 13,000 recruits. Look at our premium numbers, or investments. Investments down here. Look at, I don't know, it was like a couple million we did in investments, and then boom, 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 flatlined a bit, up, boom, flatlined a bit, up, flatlined a bit, boom. And now last year, $294 million we finished the year for investments. Over here, a couple million for the year. Look at premium. First year, last year. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years before we broke 10 million in the whole year. Okay? 5 years later, we're doing 10 million a month. It just happened bit by bit by bit, continuing to grow. The good news is, this is only happening because now we have all the systems running, things are in place. We're not perfect yet. I mean, we still make mistakes. We're not perfect. By the way, our first year in business from January to December, remember how I just told you, I don't have the chart for that, but it's on another presentation I'm doing with our executive directors. Remember how I told you last year we did $90 million was our top line revenue? Our first year, our top line revenue was $694,000. And I had to borrow $5,000 from my mother-in-law to help us pay our taxes. But we just stayed focused.
Yes, sir. That answered my question. I appreciate that. Very nice.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, have an amazing night. I appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully you got something out of this.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
My pleasure.
We will see you all in conventions. So hopefully everybody buy a ticket to come to the convention in Texas.
Thank you, Jamie.
Dallas.
Absolutely.
Have a good night, Jimmy.
Take care, guys.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mike, Jamie.
Good night.
Awesome job.
Yeah, that's my hometown.
Good night.
Sir.
Rồi, tụi mình sẽ ngồi lại ha.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.